Are your emotions heading into this game any different than they were, say, heading into your first game with the Knicks or the Hawks or any other team?
I don't know. You've been doing this so long. I'm excited about the game because, I haven't been in that atmosphere in a long, long time, man. And to be able to step back out on that floor in front of the fans that's going to come out and support us, you know, I'm really looking forward to it. But at the end of the day, this is what we do. I coach, and it's all about these players and trying to get them to play at a high level, compete at a high level, and win. So that's only my focus. I think when I walk out on the floor and I see the fans, and that's going to be nice. But it's all about trying to get these guys to play at a high level. And yes, I will have a lot of family people that's going to come up from Indy. I got people flying in as well that wants to come and see our team play, which is kind of nice.
You got a number?
Oh, I haven't completed the add up problem. It's a lot I got a lot, man. It's probably going to be 30 to 40 people probably that come up.
Wow.
And then I got people that are flying in from out of town to be here. So it's kind of nice.
Thanks.
Kevin.
Yeah, Coach, I'm just curious what you took from the close scrimmage against Belmont in terms of players picking up concepts, rotation, so forth, and what kind of progress are you looking forward from that in the opener against Eastern Michigan?
Well, I'm just gauging everything on, from the time we started, which has been a little over 4.5, almost 5 months ago, and the 2 games we had in the Bahamas, and then the Belmont scrimmage. We've made some major progress, but again, we still have a long way to go. It's hard to really gauge your team when you got guys that are in and out, doing that stretch. We had Xavier out for a little while. We had Miller out for some time prior to coming back from the Bahamas when he got hurt over there. And then Big Mike and Tamar Bates has been out. So it's really hard to gauge where your team is when, these are 4 guys that are a big piece of the puzzle, that you brought in, that we brought in to really help us win basketball games. So, we're getting some of the bodies back. Couple of, like I said, Big Mike and Tamar, we got to gauge them today to see, where they are based on practice yesterday. And, I'm not in a rush to bring anybody back off for injury. This is a long season, and I just want to make sure those guys are good and ready to go for the Big Ten.
Any areas of specific improvement that you want to see, or anything that concerns you going into the season?
Well, again, when you talk about concerns, you just hope that guys are obtaining things that you've taught them. And, I think we're getting better in that area. But only time will tell. It's hard to gauge. They go after each other in practice, and practice has been so competitive, man. But it's hard to gauge it until you actually play another opponent. And I just want to make sure that our defense stays on par in terms of where it's been, and offensively we can continue to grow as a team, because I just don't think we're where we need to be offensively yet, but we're getting there.
Alec?
Hey, Coach. Yeah, you just mentioned briefly about you guys still aren't where you want to be offensively. Obviously, a lot of the talk this offseason has been about the defensive intensity and the teaching that way. How have you guys grown since kind of day one offensively? And potentially, where do you guys see yourself when you are fully healthy in terms of offensive potential?
Well, again, we've added a lot of different sets, and I think when you building a team, man, it's just getting guys to understand how to play with each other offensively. And, the game has changed a little bit, man. I mean, trying to teach guys to play without the ball and sacrifice the ball when you got it in your hands. It ain't always got to be me, me, me. Knowing, everybody's position on the floor, knowing who can make shots and who can't make shots. We know Trace is going to be our low post and Big Mike, our low post presence. And, we got to know when to play through those guys and still be able to execute offense around them in order to be a good offensive team. I mean, those are the things that I'm searching for right now. And again, in time, we'll know more about our ball club as we go along. But in order to be a good offensive team, you gotta make sacrifices, man. And a lot of these guys, they individually, they always think I can do it, or this guy can do it, and I get that. I was an offensive player. I understand that part of it, but after the way it's played today, man, you got to sacrifice it a little bit more and make sure that everybody's involved.
Tom.
Mike, just to correct you on that number of friends you'll have, it's going to be about 17,000 because you're everybody's friend now. But I wanted to ask you if you know who's going to start for you tomorrow night, and then since we've last seen you in the last month or so, who's maybe stepped up to be a bit of a pleasant surprise for you in practice.
Well, again, practice has been so competitive, but I'm gonna stay with the same lineup that we've taken into the Bahama games with Race, Trey, Parker, Miller, and Xavier. And we've kind of started that way all 3 games, and it's been some positive and some negatives. But I think our rotating guys that are coming off have gotten better, man. I mean, they are pushing practice every day, man, and that's a bonus, man, because it makes the first unit compete. And the guys like Rob and Gallo and even Logan and Geronimo, guys like that, they're pushing practice. Anthony, I mean, it's kind of been a nice mixture. So, I'm just anxious to see, where we are as a ball club as a whole once we jump it up tomorrow night.
Jeff.
Hey, Coach. Thanks for your time. I was wondering, who are 2 or 3 guys who have really made big jumps? I don't mean guys like Trace who are already at that level, but who are 2 or 3 guys since you took over who have made substantial jumps?
I think Rob, Geronimo, even young Christian has had his moments. This is kind of a year for him where he's in that learning mode, but he's had his moments of flashes. I would probably say those 3 more than anybody really, because those guys didn't. Rob's played a whole lot, but Geronimo has played spotty minutes, and Christian didn't really play much at all. He played a little bit here and there, but I think they've gotten a little bit better since we've started.
And overall, with kind of where you guys are at early in the season, is this a team that's going to have to outscore people to win, basically win on the offensive end, or are you guys going to kind of need to really defend your way to wins early in the year?
Well, again, our identity right now, when I look at the 3 games that we played, has been on the defensive end. And make no mistake about it. I mean, guys, you got to play defense in order to win. And even when you get to the Big Ten, it's going to be that way. The teams that really defend and get after you a little bit are the teams that put themselves in position to win at a high level. And I don't care what level you play at, your defense has got to be pretty solid. And right now we are, like I said, our defense is a little bit ahead of our offense right now. So, and which I kind of like.
Okay, Mike Schumann, then we'll finish up with Zach.
Yeah. Hey, Coach, you mentioned rotations. I wanted to ask you, you mentioned the starting five. Do you have a sense for how deep you'll go into the bench, assuming you got close games here early on? And do you imagine that that's going to tighten up as the season progresses?
Well, again, I mean, I've always asked my staff when I got here, what are most colleges and how deep do most teams in college basketball go? And a lot of them, said, 8, 9 guys. Some teams go 7. I love to build a team where you can go as deep as 10, because then you don't burn guys out. And by the time you get to the Big Ten, everybody's fresh and feeling good about themselves. And I don't know if we're there in terms of being able to go 10 yet, but somehow we got to work Mike and Tamar Bates back into the mix, because again, they're big pieces to the puzzle as well. And if they're able to hold their own and add to what we got, we probably could go 9 or 10. You just never know.
Zach?
Hey, Mike, I just to kind of follow up on sort of what Jeff asked a couple of questions ago, I was just sort of curious, especially in these early games, and as you said, as you maybe kind of bring a couple guys back in as they get healthy, what are the marker points for you in terms of, I know every team's going to be a work in progress in November and December, but the marker points for you that when you look at team-wide performance, you say, I see progress there. I see the fundamentals of what we need to be doing right working, and the guys buying into that and really embracing that. What are kind of the things that maybe for you track success early on here as the team evolves in the early part of the season?
Well, again, the fact that everybody's playing pick and roll basketball, your pick and roll defense has got to be sharp. So I'm constantly looking at that and looking at our rotations and our guys in proper position to help when there's breakdowns defensively. That's always major when you go into ball games. And then offensively, I'm just trying to see if guys can learn how to play with each other without dominating the ball. You know what I mean? We're going to run a bunch of pick and rolls, but if it ain't there, I'm hoping guys can sacrifice the ball. I'm kind of forcing them to do that, and the next guy might have to make the play. But that's been work in progress, and I just got to keep at it and get these guys comfortable in terms of how we want to play our offense.